So it's a little fancier than the last setup, but I'm in the office that I work out of, Lee Media. I think I kind of mentioned that in the last video. It was 2 years ago, March 2024. Then I slated that video to release a year after, and I didn't continue doing that, as you can probably tell. But I've had a lot on my mind recently, and things have progressed. I went back and watched that video, and I was worried about kind of the same things that I'm worried about now, but I've made a lot of progress, which is good. Back then, it was 2024, so we were just kind of getting into the election cycle. Things have like changed a lot since then, right? And I guess every day is just kind of a weird, kind of hard thing to deal with on its own. And it's hard to remember that you're doing so well compared to what I was doing for like 2 years ago when I uploaded that. I'm doing a lot better than I was back then, but at the same time, like the struggles, are still real and they're still difficult. So this is kind of so I can look back again, hopefully a year or so down the line, and maybe these will be more frequent, but I'm not going to make any promises to myself like I did the last time, but I'm always here at the office and I can do this. This took me like 5 minutes to set up, so I should be able to kind of consolidate my thoughts every so often now. But comparing myself to last time, I was saying that I was just barely keeping my head above water. I was paying more in debt than I was to rent every month. I moved out from that place and into a place with my now best friend, Garrett. I've been living with him. Like, it wasn't too long after that that I probably moved in with him, and he gives me a great deal on rent, and I do a lot of his media stuff for his DJ projects, and that has allowed me that plus all of the extra work that I'm getting has allowed me to pay down a lot of that debt. A lot of it's gone, thankfully. And my goal last year, so 2025, was to pay it all off with all the jobs that I got. And I did very good. I almost got it done, slid back a little bit because I just bought a car and bought a few camera toys, so I slid back a tiny bit, but we're doing very well in that respect, and by the end of this year, hopefully we'll be completely done if taxes don't completely screw me. I think the last week I've just felt really depressed for no reason really, or not one that I can kind of pinpoint, which is kind of why I wanted to talk here. Because looking at like the positives, right, especially comparing to 2024, I have more people that want to work with me and give me consistent, income. I've gotten a raise at this job. We've paid off a lot of the debt. Um, but right now I'm working kind of about 16 hours a day, like almost like on average, um, doing a lot of stuff, which I tell myself all the time that I love what I do and I do, but other people don't have to work this much doing what they don't like. So it's just difficult to kind of compartmentalize that sometimes. But I think I just need to remember that you're doing a job that is creative, that's fun, that get to interact with other people and lots of other people, so just keep that in perspective, 99 perspective, while you're kinda going about your life, I guess, and right now, I kinda slid back into, like, the politics stuff because back when I recorded that first video, I was pretty into politics. 2025, I kinda got out of it. There's just a lot to deal with, and now it's kind of hard to ignore because, we're, you know teasing war with Iran, not even really teasing, but it's just this back and forth, and it's just such a hard thing to realize and feel like everything that you're working for can just kinda go up in flames if certain decisions get made and the economy and, I'm sure everyone feels this all the time, and it's a never-ending cycle, so it's difficult to ignore because you wanna just keep going on, but that and AI, threatening to possibly take over the video editing job in the first place, in the near future, who knows? I mean, maybe I need to, start utilizing that as a tool more or I'll get left behind. I don't like the idea of, like, this robot doing all of the fun creative work that I wanna do. Maybe my perspective will change on that. I don't know. But I guess I'm really here just to tell myself to look back on this as you've moved further down the road and realize that I feel like it's really hard right now. I feel sad. I feel like what I'm doing is not substantial. What I'm doing is not really worth it a lot of the time. But I feel like maybe that's what I felt like in 2024 when I made that first video. And maybe I'll look back a couple years from now and realize what I was doing was leading to something better like it was back then. There's a lot of stuff that I want to say, but I fear which people will see it, what they'll think of me after I say it. And that's like a place that I don't want to have to be, you know? I feel like in modern times, having certain opinions, whether they come from logic or come from a certain place of understanding or misunderstanding, can lead people to view you in a different way, even though you were perfectly fine hanging out and talking and being with them, not knowing that information or the way that they felt. I guess I'll just say it because, I mean, I don't want to have to pretend like I'm somebody I'm not, even though I had my decisions and choices that I made back then, and they're different now. So, back when I made that video, Trump was running for office, and I'm a registered libertarian, but I ended up voting for Trump, and that was a huge, difficult time in my relationship because my girlfriend does not like him for, valid reasons, but it was to a point where any idea that there might be any kind of redeeming quality was essentially an attack on my personality or my thought process or decisions, even though I don't necessarily like him as a person. But when you're given two options, you have to choose an option. And I'm not going to choose an option just because society tells me that I should make a certain option. Not that there weren't pros to Kamala, but there were more negatives, in my opinion. But it turns out that the reasons that I wanted Trump in the first place ended up going up in flames anyway. He ran on the idea of no more wars, no new wars at least. That went out the window. I wanted the idea of a more secure border, but I didn't want the idea of rounding up people in an inhumane way. And you can call me, you can tell me that I'm dumb and I should have seen that coming, but who really sees anything like that coming? People make promises all the time, they don't keep them. That would have been I would assume that would maybe be the more logical idea that, like, he says he's gonna secure the borders, but he didn't actually end up doing anything. That's usually what happens, right? The way that it's being done is extremely inhumane, and even though I wanted a more secure border, I have a lot of friends and people that I look up to and I respect that maybe have family or that are, illegal immigrants, and I don't think there's necessarily a problem with being an illegal immigrant. I'm just saying that there might have been a problem with the way that immigration was being handled, and I still feel that way. But I don't think the solutions being enacted are anywhere near what I wanted or thought that were even, part of the option. So you slide back and you like people change their opinions, and I changed my opinion, but I couldn't even come out and say that I couldn't tell my girlfriend how I felt about those decisions at the time. At the time, the idea of securing the border and no new wars, that was kinda all I cared about. That seemed like the 2 things that I was running on, and it didn't seem like Kamala was gonna help either of those things. I didn't care about I mean, whatever, I'm just talking in circles now, but the point is that just because I had reasons for voting for a person that they didn't like, that immediately made me a person that is thought of as less, and that's a difficult thing. And I know maybe some people will watch this that have known me for a long time, and now their opinion of me has changed because I did vote for him in the first place. I just don't think that's a world I wanna live in. I don't think of anyone differently or treat people worse or cut off contact because they voted a certain way or because they feel a certain way about identity politics or whatever it is. If we can have a normal conversation and be friends, I don't know what the problem is. Except for when it gets to literally rounding up people and either killing them or inhumanely deporting them. That's a line. And I can see why people might like want to unfriend people that feel that way, but that's not why I voted for him, that's not what I wanted. But how far do you get into a conversation with somebody before they shut you off before you can even explain that part? Or maybe that part doesn't matter to them, it's the fact you voted for him at all. Guess it's just hard. I don't know. Feels like everybody needs something from me all the time, and it doesn't always feel like people are cognizant. Oh, no, before I say that doesn't make any sense. I guess it just comes with getting older that maybe it feels like people need more from you than they want for you, I guess. Not that I don't have support, not that I don't have people that love me, but I don't know. The weight of responsibility just gets heavier and heavier as time goes on. Hopefully, you can find a way to either lighten the load or learn to handle it better. Anyway, this was 99 Perspective. See you when I see ya, I guess.